Testing. I think that's working.
And you're muted. All right. Okay. I'm gonna hang up my phone. Is that cool or? Okay, cool. All right.
Over together if you prefer. And
There are now 3 of you.
there, I think that's working much better.
And you're muted.
Let's see.
Am I muted?
Nope, you're good. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
I think we're recording, and
Okay. I'm gonna hang up my phone. Is that cool or? Wow. There's a bit of a crazy delay there.
yeah.
Oh wait. Do I have another version of it open?
Yeah, you might have it open in a. I've got it open too.
I think you have it open because I think mine's closed.
All right, now I've got everything closed.
Now 3 of you.
There, I think that's for this.
And you're muted. Am I muted?
Playing back to the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, but where?
Doesn't seem to be on my end. We're recording, and
Yeah. I'm gonna hang up my phone. Is that cool or? Wow. There's a bit of a crazy delay there.
yeah.
Oh wait. Do I have another version of it open?
Yeah, you might have it open in a. I've got it open too. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna see if it's one of my things. Alright, now I've got everything closed.
Now 3 of you.
Yeah, I think that's it.
You're muted. Am I muted?
Playing back to the last 5 seconds.
Again. Where?
This is on my end. We're recording, and
I'm gonna hang up my phone. Is that cool or?
so I don't know if there might be something on your end.
Oh wait a minute. I found it.
All right,
It appeared.
there we go.
I think we're good now.
Yeah, a good what was that? A good minute delay on that.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So I just wanted to thanks again for. Oh man, I've got a little bit of a delay in my ear. I'm gonna move. Oh wait, I'm on headphones, so that couldn't be. Okay. Thanks again for running the playtest last night. It worked really well, and I'm really glad to see you kind of taking up that role. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, I didn't actually spend a lot of time looking at the questions, so I'm just going to be responding to them on the fly.
No problem. Let me just bring that up. Yeah, silly me. I brought it up on my phone, but now I'm using my phone as a camera, so. All right. So these general questions are about the general idea that you have for putting. It's weird. Like it's just a delay enough in my head that I can't speak. But fortunately, you're the one that's going to be speaking, so I don't have to worry about screwing up my audio. Anyway, so the first question is, uh, what is your ideal long-term vision of the Game Makers Guild?
So I think there's a lot of room in the Game Makers Guild for people to do a lot of different things. I think you have expressed some really interesting ideas about directions to go with the guild, how to grow it, um, other avenues we can go in promoting board games and connecting with other board game making communities, and that's great. I'm very happy for it to do that. That's not where my heart is. My heart is really in the regular playtest meetup, because I get a lot out of that. That's the community that I enjoy being with. I enjoy seeing people's ideas. So that's kind of where I'm putting most of my effort and time. But I'm not adverse to um, all the other things that people are suggesting. But I'm also not motivated to like push them to go. I'll be happy to support it, but really, with the kind of limited time and effort I have available, I'd like to really make sure we're maintaining that core functionality of the group with the play tests that happen on a regular basis, and make people feel welcome, make them more efficient, so that people really get the maximum amount of enjoyment from bringing the games and playtesting their games and playtesting other people's games. That element of it, I think, provides our core energy that then allows us to leverage that for other things. But also just by itself, it's valuable. So I guess the answer is I don't know where the other parts are going, and I'm not too concerned about it. I'm happy for them to go there, and that's great. But I really want to help not lose sight of that core piece of who we are.
Excellent. I think that's a great answer. Um, the primary playtesting has been really good, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement for engaging the community that we have. So I think that's a really good vision to have. I'll go ahead and just move through on to the question.
I guess one kind of addition to that is I want to make sure that people, when they come as new people to the group, have a first experience that makes them want to come back.
Hmm. It sounds like as well that we could promote more people that want to come in and play and see the community that we're forming, more so than, oh,
Yeah, it's I mean, the outreach. I think we need to do outreach to grow the group, but it's just ensuring the random person who finds us through the meetup or through word of mouth, and they walk in the door. That's when I'm focused on. When somebody walks in the door, especially if they're new to the group, what is their experience, and can we make sure that we aren't just lucky that the person has a good time, but we very intentionally structure things so that person has the best chance of having a good time.
excellent. Glad to hear you say that, and you seem to be in a good position to be making that happen. So uh, I probably have a question down there and there, but
Sure.
again, if you need anything like immediate, always just let us know.
Sure.
Do you have anything else before we move on to the next one?
No, go ahead.
The next one, you've kind of answered, but we'll go through. What projects or services would you like to see the guild work on in the near future?
Um, I think a number of people have been pushing ideas out there, and I think we probably have enough on our plate to actually more than we can probably even chew right now. Um, I think the push towards getting us stable nonprofit organization status and all the legal stuff, I think is good, because if we don't do that, we are continuing to expose ourselves to risk both financially and legally. Um, so I wouldn't want to extend our reach too far to open ourselves to interact with new people in new ways until we have footing that we are comfortable with. And I think the work that's been done recently points to some good directions on that, and that we may already have that protection in some ways. Um, I think the experience at Boston Fig was really great. I think that gave us a lot of really good exposure, and so looking for opportunities like that to engage in our local community, maybe reaching out to game stores that have playing spaces and holding events there. I think we could build our group more consistently larger, and then that provides us, the dues and everything to then start funding some of this other stuff we want to do. Um, like I said, I'm not putting a whole lot of my time and effort into like creating vision around the what's the next step, but just trying to like make what we do better.
Yeah, that's a good.
Isn't that a slogan for some company?
Yeah, because I know we used to have some like the showcases that would go out and interact with people, kind of doing the same thing but more.
Yeah, and with more varied places. I mean, I think the showcases were nice in that they brought our games to people who were like, oh, that's a fun idea to do on an evening and go look at some games. But in terms of actually growing our community of people who might, that's a very specific audience that I don't know that we're reaching out to them specifically. And I think, a logical place would be game stores, because people who play a lot of games might be more prone to, when exposed to some of our games and in an event, be like, oh, I could do that, or be excited about playing games that they would never play otherwise because they're not on the shelf, So I think there are audiences that we could connect with easily that might swell our ranks and bring in new games and bring in new memberships and, you know, that part of it.
Yeah, and I know for some people getting to Cambridge or uh, mostly Cambridge, I suppose, uh, is a bit of a limiting factor. And if we can grow that someone with more venues, I think you're right. That's a good direction.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm just gonna flip that over there. That's much better. Anything else before we move on to the next one?
No, go ahead.
All right. What do you see as the core responsibilities of the board in relation to the guild as a whole?
Well, um, primary responsibility would be financial, legal, and maintaining the operations of the guild so that we have regular meetups and some of the other things that we've established as part of who we are, the speaker series, things like that. Things that we've already committed to, I think, are the core responsibilities of the board. I think we've also wrapped in to the board the the desire to like expand and promote and all those kinds of things. And sometimes boards are just solely kind of the financial and legal kind of gatekeepers for an organization. But I think we're looking at a board that's not just that, but it's also vision driving and expanding and all those kinds of things. So I think we're a board plus.
Hmm.
Um,
Cool. Do you want to enumerate some of those points real quick, just for that one?
Sure. Well, I mean, some of the larger organizations I've been part of, the board hires the person who then runs the organization. So that person is responsible to the board, but that person then is also responsible. That person then hires the people, creates vision, runs that element of it, where the board is there to keep the organization to the mission, to be financially responsible. So I think in some ways we have some work to do in terms of building mission and all that kind of stuff. Some of the board documentation to make ourselves more legit as a board before we can transition maybe to that model, but we may never transition the model because we're a small organization, and those of us who are volunteering to be on the board are passionate about what we're doing, and so we also have the vision.
Right. Oh, that's a cool way to think about it. Anything else before moving on to the next one?
I'm good with that.
All right. How would you improve the members' experience at the Game Makers Guild?
I think that's kind of one of the things I touched on before. A community that I used to spend a lot of time with is the contra dancing community, and I've seen in many different places how new dancers are treated. When I first started dancing, it was in Philadelphia, and there were established dancers who came early to every single dance and provided new dancer workshops, and then made sure that new dancers were partnered with experienced dancers so that they would have the best possible experience. And then their choice whether to come back or not, or whether they enjoyed it or not, was not based on never having the opportunity to dance or not knowing what they were doing. It was really based on, is this something that is fun for them? Because they had the opportunity to experience what that dancing was. And so really it came down to if they enjoyed that experience. But the experience was crafted so that they could have an honest experience. I've also been in cities where new dancers are ignored and they don't come back because it's not fun. They never had the opportunity to have a fun dance because they never got to partner with somebody who knew what they were doing, and they weren't trained. Um, I think we have significant room to grow in making a consistent experience for new people who walk in and want to see what we're about. I think we do a good job informally, but I don't think we have a clear script or process in place to make sure that each new person who comes in has a good experience. If someone comes in and they're gregarious and talkative and insert themselves into it, they're going to have a good time. But if they're a little bit shy, or if they're not, you know, if they're not hitting our cultural norms and kind of that puts a bit of distance, anything that will create distance between the new person and the group has the potential for turning that person's experience negative, where it didn't need to be. So I think we could, as a group, do some work around that, and that's something that I'd be excited about working on. That I think it's that first date, that first look, that first impression.
Mm-hmm.
And if people walk away not enjoying it, then not only do they not have a good experience, but if a friend says, "Oh, how was that? You were going to go check it out," for the group of us to see if we want to come. I think it has a ripple effect. I think we want to minimize any negative ripple effect, and really allow people to judge it on its true merits, rather than just kind of a bad experience, not because of the game playing or whatever, just because they got, they were in a corner and nobody paid attention to them or something. You know.
And I'm really glad we're having this conversation because I hadn't really thought about it in this way, and it's incredible. It's something we should really be spending a lot more time thinking about. Also, if you know more about the dancing community, I'd love to talk to you about that because me and my wife dance, but we haven't participated in any of the communities in Boston.
I tried to. I did not have a great experience here. This is a community that does not treat new dancers or dancers new to the community very well.
Hmm.
And so I've kept trying. There's a couple dances. There's one actually near my house here in Cambridge that meets on Sunday nights. That is a nice community, and if I was not exhausted on Sunday nights, I'd probably go more often.
But I'll send you an email about that later.
Absolutely. Edit this part out.
But we got just one more question, and then we'll just kind of wrap up thoughts.
Sure.
What do you feel you contribute to the board, and what would you like to contribute?
See the above answer. Um, um, I think I've pretty well talked about the aspect of new people, and also just making the playtesting go more smoothly, which I think I've started to do, and I think I have been thinking about ways to improve that. Beyond that, I think I can act as kind of that extra hand on any project. I can proofread text. I can drive stuff here or there. I can host events because we have some space in the house. That kind of odd jobs person, I guess. Like I'm happy doing whatever. Like Eli asked me to take care of some of the finances, so I'm starting to do some of that now. Um, I'm happy doing those things with the understanding that I am doing a whole lot of vision work at my school around my own career, for the school, and I've got a number of people tapping me in a similar fashion. So I'm not eager to jump in a leadership capacity in some of those things. I am totally eager to make the core playtesting thing and spend my energy and time in there, but I'm available as a extra pair of hands or eyes or whatever for other people's projects when they need it.
Excellent. It definitely seems like as we're kind of starting to document more stuff, getting an idea of what the tasks are so that we don't have to kind of discuss like what we need to do. We can just have some of the stuff that someone can say like, oh, I'd love to take care of this or love to take care of that. Um, and then people can take the lead when they need to for projects. So it's good to know that you're going to be a resource for that. And obviously, we don't want to monopolize your time, but
Don't worry, I have my boundaries. So that's.
all right. Do you have any other general comments about the board or the direction the guild is taking before we wrap this up?
I'm just. Um, it is rare that I find a group that I feel like I really belong to, and I feel like I belong to this group, and that's a really wonderful feeling. And so that's why I'm willing to put some chunks of time and energy into maintaining it, because I hope that it will provide that for other people who may or may not find it easy to be a member of a group. But I think it does serve that need beyond just making games. I think it does have a social element that um, is important.
Excellent. And again, I want to thank you again for doing a lot of the stuff for the playtest. A lot of us that have kind of tried to step up into that role have always felt really nervous about it, I guess, because we've seen the guys that did it before. So everyone's been kind of like, don't want to like do anything too crazy with it. But I feel like when you approach it, you've been growing it and taking care of it in a very organic way, and people have been noticing. So thank you again
Thank you.
for that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't have a problem standing in front of a group of people and organizing them.
Well, I'm glad we have a teacher on our in our ranks.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so I think this is excellent. I want to make sure that this is all recorded, and we'll release that at the next. Well, not release, but we'll talk about it at the next board meeting.
Sure.
And I'll send you an email about the dancing community stuff because that's awesome to hear.
Absolutely. All
All
right.
right.
Well, thanks for
Again,
your
thank you
time,
very
Matt.
much,
Thank you.
and see you later.
Will do.
Good night.
Good night.